Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Monday, January 23rd. I'm Jason Fulmore, SC Russell, and wow, what a weekend. Tons of state duels, state duel finals all over the Southeast. Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Super, super busy. I headed to Florida where I could watch all classifications 1A, 2A, and 3A compete. I also announced the tournament, which I hope added to the event itself so everybody could keep track of the dual scores and the individual matches, who was wrestling, and all these different things. It was a really good time, but I got fewer pictures and things like that I normally do. Anyway, so it was a great time, but I was following along. And Friday, I was able to watch the finals on track for Alabama, and in Georgia. It was just a wild Saturday, an absolute wild Saturday. And if you happen to be in one location, and I know many of you were in the one location and still following along with everything else that was happening, but if you weren't, and if you weren't able to, this is an opportunity for us to catch up on what happened. Just so you know, I reached out to all the state championship coaches and all the coaches of the state championship teams, and I got a lot of them to jump on a Zoom call with me on Sunday, and we talked through kind of the process to get to this point. It was great. I had fantastic conversations with so many coaches. I want you to know I'm going to play just a little clip of each one as we go through this, but I talked to each coach for somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. So I'm going to take that and upload those full conversations if you're interested in hearing any of their perspectives on the road to a state title this past few weeks. That said, I did miss a few coaches. In fact, because I'm an idiot, I missed all the Florida coaches because I was so busy doing other things, and I didn't get them on a Zoom call. So I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to catch up with Coach McMath and Coach Walker, and Coach Balmaceda. I talked to them actually quite a bit during the course of the tournament, but I did not get them on film as far as their reaction. So we'll have to deal with that. Otherwise, yeah, I got a chance to talk to most of them. Anyway, before we jump into the rundown or the roundup of Alabama, Florida, and Georgia, yeah, there's still action going on in North Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina. I'm not going to spend any time talking about any specific tournaments this weekend or that happened this past weekend because this is going to be too long as it is. But I did want to cue you. North Carolina starts their process here in just a couple of days. So does Tennessee. In fact, this coming weekend will be huge as each of those teams try to punch their ticket to their finals, which will happen the following week. And the South Carolina high schools will make their, I think they are actually a week behind, and then will make their run to a state dual title. So we're ramping things up, and it's been super busy. Why don't we hear from a few coaches and what happened across the Southeast this weekend in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Let's jump to the state of Alabama first. And first, congratulations to Huntsville High School, your Class 7A state duels champions. They beat Smith Station in the finals. And here's a quick clip from Coach Harris.
Oh man, that just went back to things that we've been pressing since the beginning, or even a year ago. Is if we stay together and we continue improvement, that we'll be in the hunt for a state title, whether it be individually or as a staff. I mean, the kids, they hear this every single year whenever they're a newcomer. If they'll stay together and continue to work, they'll be in a hunt for a state title, both as a team and as an individual. So that mantra was pretty easy to keep that rolling. And our biggest goal is just to be the most physical team we possibly can on the mat. Just be physical, never backing down, and that took years to develop, and I think we're getting there to being there. And so when the next challenge came up, or when we got the alignments came out, and we knew it was going to be a gauntlet, it was tough, and it was a challenge. It's like, hey, you got your good year, your good season. Here's your plan. This is who you have to go through, and it kind of all just lined up. And I think if in any other years, it would have been very similar, but they liked the idea that it had to go through Huntsville, and we had to see everybody to achieve it.
So as you can tell, Coach Harris was so pleased with his team. They battled through some great competition, Vestavia, Thompson, and then they beat a very good Smith Station team 59-6 in the finals to take the Alabama 7A dual state title.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 dual champion for Class 7A is the Huntsville Panthers, coached by Patrick Bates.
Again, congratulations to Huntsville. It was a great run by them. So they were taking a title. Guess what was happening in Alabama 1A, 4A? And it was a huge celebration for Dora as they claimed the 1A, 4A state title. I mean, they also ran the gauntlet in beating a very talented number 1 ranked Weaver, Asheville ranked number 2, New Hope, and then Ranburn in the finals. When I finally caught up with Coach Henderson, I asked him what was his message, what did he say to his team when it was just them after everything was said and done.
I told them I couldn't be prouder of them. They have bought in, man. They fought. They beat Weaver, that is year in, year out, one of the toughest teams in the state. Asheville, they've been solid for the past 5 years. I mean, they've won 2 of the last 3 state championships, I believe. Mm-hmm. And going through both of them just alone is remarkable. Like, that's 2 very, very tough programs.
Well, and then New Hope, and then Ranburn at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it's brutal, but I told him, I was like, I love you guys, and I'm proud of you. You've done something that's never been done before. And, man, we celebrated, and we're going to go back to work tomorrow.
So Dora gets back to work today, as Coach Henderson says. But if we reflect back and look at their run, Weaver and then Asheville, New Hope, and in the finals versus Ranburn, they had some outstanding individual wins. Coach Henderson and I, in our extended interview, talk about the match itself, break it down and everything else. But Dora takes the title 39-31, and congratulations to them. Over in 5A, it came down to the last match. And Jasper, Cortez, Samuels would get the fall and the win for Jasper. All right, so it looked like it was an absolute wild scene in the Jasper-Tallahassee match. Cortez Samuels came through. I wasn't able to track down the Jasper coaches to get a quick interview with them, but, man, it looked wild as far as me being able to see it from track wrestling and everything else. That's where that clip was from. And, if you look at the box score for Jasper and go back and watch the match, you will see a really, really good duel between 2 excellent teams in Jasper and Tallahassee. Jasper claims the 5A state duels title in the state of Alabama. Congratulations to the Vikings. And now we move to the final state championship team, state dual championship team. And they were actually the first team to claim a title on Friday morning. Coach Ransom's Mountain Brook Spartans.
The Spartans of Mountain Brook High School.
Found a very good Mortimer Jordan team, and I asked Coach Ransom, what was the message to the kids after everything was said and done?
We've been telling them all year long that, they could be as good as they want to be. We believe in them. And, we've kind of put, a little bit of, I guess with old Nick Saban rat poison comes in, that, everybody always says Mountain Brook's never going to be able to win the state title. They're never going to be able to do it. All they think you are is a bunch of, soft kids from Mountain Brook. And, just asking them to battle and fight, and just, at the end of the day, and they did everything we can ask for them. Coach Schofield and I have been talking about this for years. What can we get out of them? How can we make them, tougher? And we just challenged them mentally. And, the biggest thing is we said, we're proud of you guys. And, we're not done. It's kind of the message we want to send to them is don't be satisfied with this. Enjoy this moment. Be proud of yourselves, but don't be satisfied.
Yeah.
There can be much more to come for it, especially with our younger guys.
And after that run by Mountain Brook, I can't imagine they'd be satisfied. They're geared up and ready to go make a run for some individual state titles as well as a traditional team title in 6A. Coach Ransom, I talked in greater detail about the specific match with Mortimer Jordan. It was 32-27, and there were some big wins by some individuals for Mountain Brook in that duel. Maybe none bigger than Nathan McCain at 138 pounds. His 5-3 decision of John Leon really kind of sealed the deal for Mountain Brook, and they claim the Alabama 6A state title. All right, so that's your champions in the state of Alabama. Let's move over to the state of Florida, where I spent this weekend down in the Sunshine State. It was fantastic. The 8 teams that gathered in Osceola High School in Kissimmee, boy, they came to battle, and there were some fantastic matches. But I'll tell you, there were also some really dominant performances. Let's start in 1A with Coach McMath's Jensen Beach Falcons, who they wrestled fantastic. They beat Mater Lakes 42-25 in the opening round. They beat Swanee 49-19. And then they took on a good Zephyr Hills Christian squad in the finals. And, I'll be honest with you. As we look through different things, Coach Maple was 100% right. That team was ready to make a run for a title, and they did. But the Falcons were too much in the end, claiming a 57-12 dual win as Jensen Beach claims the 1A state title. Boy, they were just an impressive group all weekend. Some an outstanding team and some outstanding individuals. All right, over in 2A, boy, things got crazy. So that clip needs just a little context. That's how, like so many individual matches, the level of excitement from winning and pushing their team just a little bit closer to a state title. Colt Brown, Jace Paradin, Colt Brown of Lake Gibson, Jace Paradin of Fleming Island was one of those individual matchups that was just simply outstanding. And Paradin was led heading into the third. Brown was down by 3, ends up coming back, takes it to sudden victory, and that's the celebration after the takedown in sudden victory. And that's with the duel at 16-10 for Fleming Island. So it didn't seal the duel. It wasn't the culminating match that decided Lake Gibson's win in the duel. It was simply a match of 2 really outstanding individuals. And also, Lake Gibson and Fleming Island knew that was going to be one of the matches that ended up deciding what would happen. And so let's go back a little bit in time And Lake Gibson began by beating Springstead 63-12. Then they got Charlotte, and they got behind, and they were behind early, but came storming back and beat Charlotte 40-28 in the semifinals. Same thing kind of happened against Fleming Island. They got behind, and then you had momentum-changing matches. Colt Brown's win at 126 pounds was one of those matches. Lake Gibson would go on to beat Fleming Island 37-19 in what was an outstanding duel, back and forth, really, really good matches, and Lake Gibson takes the win. So blown away by how just the level of energy and enthusiasm with all those duels. It was so loud on the floor of Osceola High School, and yeah, it was fantastic. So congratulations to Jensen Beach in 1A, Lake Gibson in 2A, and we head to 3A, where Coach Balmazida's South Dade team, boy, talk about impressive and a dominant performance. South Dade just was impressive all weekend long. They beat Cypress Bay, they beat DeLand, and then they beat a really good Osceola team handily. I mean, we're talking really top to bottom. South Dade is legit. They don't have a hole in their lineup, and they can compete, in my estimation, with anyone. With anyone. So congratulations to South Dade. Congratulations to Lake Gibson. Congratulations to Jensen Beach. Those are your Florida state champions, dual state champions. And now Florida transitions back to individuals where they've got about a month, and then they begin to make a run for an individual state title, as well as a traditional team state title. And we make the transition over to the state of Georgia, where we're going to start with a conversation with Coach Newton and the Carrollton girls.
It worked out well, but it was, let's prove everybody wrong. One. Two, this is just another tournament. This is what we train for. 3, have fun. 4, I love you no matter what. We got a little saying, everything we do with a purpose. Our purpose was to go give everything you got, win, lose, or draw. We leave with our heads up high.
And Coach Newton and I, we talked about a ton of things. And honestly, they came in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Number one, they didn't believe they were the 5 seed. They didn't believe that we, Lucas and I, gave them much love or credit. And to be fair, yeah, we talked about Chesadee. We talked about Greenbrier. We talked about a few other teams. And Carrollton showed out. And Carrollton, the girls took the title. And this is another thing that Coach Newton and I talked about in great detail. The first ever, regardless of traditional, regardless of duels, it is a dual title, girls team state champions. Because up to this point, the girls have crowned individual state champions, but the GHSA has not recognized a team state champion until this past Friday. And Carrollton goes down in the record books as the first ever to win a girls state championship. Congratulations to Coach Newton and his squad. They wrestled fantastic. Came down to a super tough duel versus Jordan in the finals. And yeah, he got his 4 hammers up top. Madison Cooley, Amazing Ackley, Johanna Mejia, and Haley Lussier, to come through as Carrollton takes home the title. Congratulations to them. All right, so let's transition over to 1A, where I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Mary, and he of Mount Pisgah, Coach Mary of Mount Pisgah, and he talked about this being a complete team effort.
This is team duels, and it's a total team effort. I mean, our guys, every single one of them, I'd love to, Brady. Oh my gosh, Marley beating Thacker, that was huge. Dylan Baker coming through, that was huge. Steele Brown not getting pinned by Social or Tron was huge. Aaron going after it at heavyweight, against good kids, and I think I named them all. I probably Lang's brother, but even Big Lang. I hate it for Josh Lang, but he wrestled great, and Pierre Nelson. I mean, it was a total team effort, and the kids wrestled awesome today.
And Coach Mary really didn't overstate it. It was exactly a team effort. I mean, from top to bottom, if you go and watch the duels that Pisgah had with Social Circle, which they beat in the semifinals by 2 points, and then the final duel that they won 33-32, it was a team effort. From top to bottom, cannot overstate how important it was where they were to get bonus points in particular spots, to not give up a fall in certain spots. Everyone battled, and everyone battled from all the different teams. But in the end of the day, Pisgah was able to find a way forward and beat. I mean, and this is one of the things that makes it so challenging in the state of Georgia. We had so many fantastic duels, and you can just hear the excitement and everything that's going on. And it's just a shame that we didn't get an opportunity to watch Pisgah, Social Circle, Pisgah, Tryon, and right next to some of the other duels that had happened all over the state. But fantastic job by Mount Pisgah. If you're interested in a much longer conversation with Coach Mary, I'll have that posted tomorrow. Pisgah beats Social Circle and then beats Tryon to take the team title, dual team title in 1A. And while that's happening, and really honestly, while so much is happening, because I was peeking on, and there were people in Florida watching these duels in the state of Georgia because they were super interested. They wanted to watch all the great matchups as well. Camden was adding another ring as they were beating Buford, and this match was huge. So Brandon Higgins' fall of Rylan Eyebold at 113 pounds was huge. I mean, you can't overstate it. It was a huge moment in the duel. But I want to make sure that I point out, it wasn't the singular moment that decided that duel, or really, honestly, any of these duels weren't decided by a singular moment. There are 14 individual matches, and there are moments, like if you watched earlier with Fleming Island and Lake Gibson, little moments, big moments, but at specific points in time in a duel play a huge role. And that's what this was. Higgins' pin of Rylan Eyebold put Camden County up 30-22 as they moved into the last two matches of the duel. And Camden County added another title, another dual title. I think that makes it 9 in a row for Camden County, and they beat a very talented Buford team. And I want to make sure that I point out, they beat North Gwinnett earlier, they beat Moe Creek, and they beat Buford. There were 8 teams there this weekend, and we're talking a lot about each of the individual or each of the teams' champions, but there was a lot of good wrestling all over the place, and not just in those finals matches. Some of the 3rd, 4th place matches were super good. So congratulations to all the teams, but we're focused in on the teams that ended up claiming a title. And one of my so congratulations to Camden County. And we're going to now transition to 6A. And my conversation, here's a little clip of my conversation with Coach Bringer of South Effingham, and really talking about enjoying the moment.
Well, I mean, I think so. We're driving in on the bus, and when you look at these pictures that this professional photographer took of us, the joy on our faces in that last duel, and the joy on the parents' faces as we're driving in.
I saw the pictures on Facebook. I think
I stopped the bus, and I stopped the bus before we're about to go into our high school parade, and I said, guys, you put so much happiness into your parents' lives. You put so much happiness into your lives, your school's lives, some of your friends, not all your friends, because some of your friends are jealous that you're doing these great things. You've done so much good for so much. You have to remember this in the summertime when those decisions come down to, do I go out and do this, or do I go and do this? And I said, this has been the most, I mean, I was in the Army for 25 years. I deployed so many times and done so many great things. And I'm telling these kids, this is like one of the coolest things I've ever been part of.
And with a 36-28 win over North Forsyth in the finals, South Effingham claimed just the second ever state title for wrestling in Effingham County by any Effingham County school, and the first ever for South Effingham in claiming the 6A state title. And congratulations to Coach Bringer. They beat Lassiter in the first round, beat Creekview in the semifinals, and then had a absolute wild match with North Forsyth. Coach Bringer and I actually talk a little bit more in more detail about that match. So if you're interested in that, be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'll post the entire interview up. And yeah, congratulations to them. Over in 2A, boy, Rockmart has looked absolutely solid all season long, and they did absolutely nothing to dispel that this weekend. The Yellow Jackets of Rockmart beat Brantley County in the opening round, Landmark Christian in the semifinals, and then beat a very, very good Fannin County team 47-22 to claim the 2A state title, the state duels title in the state of Georgia. Congratulations to Rockmart on claiming that title. And now we shift to a bit of adversity for Columbus in their route and their run to a 3A title. I'll get to that after you hear from Coach Keys about what he said to his team after they were able to get that win over Gilmer in the 3A finals.
I just told them that how extremely proud I was of them and what they accomplished, and that even though things look bleak, that they were able to come together as a team and get it done. And so that's why I was mostly proud of, that they stuck together as a team and they picked each other up.
And if you don't know what Coach Keys is referring to, they stuck together and they picked each other up after really some adversity. Very early in the day, Columbus lost one of their returning state champions in Tyler Wynn, who was injured in the opening duel against Gordon Lee, and really had to do battle the rest of the day without him. And they beat Gordon Lee. They beat Bremen in the semifinals, and then they had Gilmer in the finals. And they were wrestling fantastic. And then you had Tyler Sequoy, who was disqualified, I believe, in his match at 175 pounds. And as a result, Columbus went down. Columbus went down as far as two of their major point getters for the entire year. and they put it on the backs of so many of the other wrestlers on that team. And one of those individuals was Mason Persons, who weighed in at 113 pounds and ended up bumping up and needed bonus points at 120 pounds against Gilmer to give Columbus a shot to win at the end. He got that, and then JT McDaniel got a 1-point win at 126 pounds. Columbus beat Gilmer by a single point to claim the 3A title. It was a wild series of events that led up to that. If you're interested, go back to Track Wrestling and watch the entire duel. It is super interesting to watch that duel and the way it played out. And speaking of adversity, boy, 5A had a lot going on. And when I caught up with Coach Baird, he talked a little bit about the adversity that the Dragons had coming in to this weekend and what they had to do to overcome a really good, talented 5A field and a super talented cast team in the finals.
The conversation was more of I'm proud of the way you guys fought. Proud of, there's a lot of adversity that we had to go through this year. I mean, when you lose one of your best wrestlers in Dindy, that's a tough loss there. I mean, you're looking at a state champ that you're not going to have, and then you lose Cat Benson. Same kind of boat. I mean, he could be a state placer this year, and we don't have those two guys. That can put a load on some people's shoulders on that team. But I'm still almost at a loss for words of what to say, because I know how good Cass is, and they do a great job over there, and it's and they're great guys too. I mean, so the conversation will probably continue into Monday and Tuesday about how proud I am for them, but we'll start the transition into, hey, we got to get ready for region now.
And Jefferson really did have to overcome some adversity this year, losing Dendy and Cap Benson, two individuals in their lineup that win most of the time and provide you points, really put a lot of stress on the other members of the team, and that had to step up and make something happen against some really great teams. They beat Locust Grove in the opening round. They had a tough semifinal match against Woodland that they won 39-20. I know it was a 19-point win, but go back and watch that duel. It is a really, really good duel. And then they wrestled Cass in the finals. And we're talking about a duel that had 7 wins for each team. It had 4 falls for each team. And it really came down to Creed Thomas and Luke Cochran earning technical falls for Jefferson, and Dominic Haynes coming through for Jefferson in the final match that pushed them over Cass, a super talented team, a really talented group of individuals, and Jefferson took home the 5A state title. Congratulations to them. Again, another example of a duel that I got to come back and watch on Track Wrestling, and I'm thankful for that. But I can't even imagine being in the same building while Buford, Camden, Pisco over with Social Circle or Tryon, and Columbus kind of making things happen in 3A, blah, 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 blah. And then while Jefferson and Cass are going on at the same time as well. So absolutely wonderful run by Jefferson to take the 5A title. And now we transition to our final group, and really a tip of the cap to Central Carrollton, the Lions, who, they made this poster after they won, and if you can't read the inscription on it, it says, "Do you believe us now?" or something like that, Lucas. And it was reference to Lucas da Silva and his picking of Lovett to beat Central Carroll in what ended up being a fantastic duel between the two teams. But before we get to that, I got a chance to catch up with Coach Knight, and really what he talked about to his team as they led up to that Saturday showdown with the rest of the teams in 4A in the state of Georgia.
Man, we really kind of reset ourselves after Holy Angels. We saw you at Holy Angels. Kind of tried to reset our team. We came back and had some goal meetings, and just kind of developed this goal of loving each other. So that's really been what we've talked about all week, is just loving each other and loving each other through things that go wrong, because a lot of times dual meets don't go how you throw it on the whiteboard. And I'll be the first to say,
don't we know?
Yeah, right. Well, and I'll be the first to say, out of the 8 dual meets we've had the past 3 weeks, I don't think a single one of them has been within 5 or 6 points of how I personally had it going on a whiteboard. And you've got assistants drawing theirs, and just love each other through it. I mean, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be things you don't expect. And I think the kids bought into that, and they bought into the team mentality, and super proud of them.
Yeah.
So Coach Knight and I talked about a ton of things, and we really delved into, the path forward for Central Carroll as they started on Saturday. They beat Droop County. Then they beat a really good Chestatee team. And finally, we are talking a super back and forth match with Lovett in the 4A finals. And we talk about specific matches within that match, and really talking about how it came down to Dylan McKnight and his fall at 190 pounds that had a huge impact, and them claiming the 4A title. So congratulations to Central Carroll, and going back to that picture, it's all fun. We certainly love to poke one another as far as those things go, and we make predictions, and boy, the young Lions of Central Carroll showed out, and so did so many other teams this weekend, whether we're talking in Alabama or Florida or in Georgia. It was wild. It was absolutely a really great representation of why duels are fan-friendly, a really good environment of showing how wonderful the sport is to everyone. And I think we'll end on that. I think first I want to say congratulations to all the teams that competed in the state dual series. Some of those teams, they achieved their goal. They overachieved. They made the top 8 when maybe teams didn't necessarily, or maybe when we didn't necessarily pick them, or they won matches and got to a position that of making the top 4, or whatever the case is. And it was just a really fantastic weekend of wrestling, and really a fantastic 2 weeks of wrestling across all 3 of the states. Can't wait to see what Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina have in store for us coming up. And we hit the home stretch where wrestlers start earning state titles. So congratulations to everyone. And I know this was a little bit longer than normal, but I think that the conversations with the coaches really added some perspective of what happened this weekend. And if you're interested in conversations with anyone that you saw, from Coach Harris, who kicked us off from Huntsville, all the way to Coach Knight here at the end, and everyone in between. I plan on posting all of those interviews tomorrow on the YouTube channel. So tune in, and we talk a little bit greater detail about each of the duels and what happened. But congratulations to all the teams, and see you a couple weeks. I think I will be in Tennessee for their state duels. You guys take care. See you. Bye.